This is Professor of Medicine, Desiree Dubonnet, the man who left America to find freedom. He's no longer a man.
Don't die tomorrow, don't die of fright. If you ever need protection, you gotta make your selection.
The dictionary definition of a nutrient is a substance that provides nourishment essential for the maintenance of life, metabolism, reproduction, and growth. A nutritional deficiency is when the missing nutrient causes disease, when we block health and we have decreased wellness. Now we think most about nutrients, that is from food, things like negentropy, fiber, carbohydrates, fats, protein, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, these nutrients that are found in food. But now we have to expand our mind to more and realize that air, water, family, social networks, intellect, stimulation, love, respect, spiritual growth, these are essential nutrients, as is sunshine. So we have to recognize exercise. All of these things are nutrients that we need. If you are deficient in just one nutrient, you will be sick and tired. And you'll be in crave mode, unconsciously, always searching for that nutrient. Never at peace, never at health until you find that nutrient. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? See, many people have this fatigue, this low-grade mental fog. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now we can change it because of just one little nutrient. You might be sick and tired. And in order to change, we must be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and recognize, as we're going to teach you about all these nutrients, how to get them very simple and very easily, so that with these nutrients topped up, you'll find wellness, health, and peak performance, and have a better life, and find happiness. And today's topic is air, the most incredible nutritional deficiency. Air/oxygen is needed for all of life. Every biological process inside the human being will need air, oxygen. Here's the components. We see nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide. And what happens if we don't get this nutrient? Well, if we don't get the nutrient, all you have to do is close your nose, close your mouth, and you'll find out real quick. This is an essential nutrient that you need very critically. And if you don't get it, just in a couple of minutes. Now, nitrogen makes up most of the air. Nitrogen is very important, especially in the plant kingdom, where nitrogen fixing allows us to make nutrients. What would happen if we had no nitrogen in the atmosphere? Just one simple spark, and all of the oxygen in the entire world's atmosphere would ignite, and life would be over. Now, people have tried to find out if nitrogen is used in the human gut. It seems to be used a little bit in the human lung. And the only way that we could explain how breatharians do exist, the only way we could explain them is that they would have enough spirituality to draw nitrogen from the air to make their proteins, and use sunshine and spirit as the energy, so they wouldn't need the carbohydrates. All from the air. Now, in normal people, carbon dioxide, oxygen, cycling through the system, being brought to the mitochondria to make ATP, to allow all processes. And if the heart is bad, it interrupts on the flow of oxygen. There's no part in the body that stores oxygen. It has to be supplied continuously. And if we start to get less and less oxygen, down below 18%, then we start to have oxygen consumption disease. And when this happens, there's a sign that we get, yawning.
I challenge you to watch this whole video without yawning. For many of you, seeing me yawn just now was enough to make you want to yawn too. But can you suppress it?
Yawning is a warning sign that you're not getting enough oxygen. It's a warning sign. It tells us that we're just not supplying enough oxygen throughout the body. When we get bored, we're not active.
Already you can feel a tightening in the back of your throat, a moistness in the eyes, a gentle pressure in the ears, a tenseness that you know can be relieved with one simple yawn. Ugh.
Our atmosphere has enough oxygen today, it's around 20%. It's dropping a little bit, very, very tiny. And it could be that if we destroy too many of the trees, we might see a dramatic loss of oxygen. And one of the signs will be...
It's a biological impulse, the contagious yawn. Even seeing a picture of someone yawning with no sound or motion can be enough to induce a yawn. Or maybe you're one of those people who can read yawn or hear the word yawn, repeated yawn, and feel the need to yawn.
For us to understand breathing, we have to understand carbon dioxide as well as oxygen. We take in the oxygen, but it is not oxygen deficiency that triggers breathing. Breathing is triggered by a buildup of carbon dioxide. If we don't have enough carbon dioxide, we won't breathe properly, which is why people who hyperventilate need to hyperventilate and breathe into a bag, thereby getting more carbon dioxide, which will trigger their breathing. So we need carbon dioxide. We have to balance this.
I'm sorry. It's like my throat was thirsty for air. I feel much better now. And that's exactly the point. A yawn calms you down. If you're a pack animal, contagious yawning puts the whole herd on a synchronized sleep schedule.
Hyperventilation can happen when we get anxious and different things. We get too much oxygen, not enough carbon dioxide. And this can produce a problem in the body and also a yawn.
Of course, others say the exact opposite, that a yawn gives you a momentary jolt of energy, and contagious yawning can keep the group alert when one individual starts to get a little drowsy.
Breathing is especially important. It allows us to bring the oxygen for energy to all cell processes, eliminate the toxins, circulation, nervous, digestive, everything works with breathing. We have to learn how to breathe properly, balancing the oxygen and the carbon dioxide to make sure that we learn properly how to breathe and understand about the signals.
Whatever the reason, yawning remains a powerful neurological impulse, even across species. One study found that a human yawning can make a dog do the same.
It is the carbon dioxide that not only stimulates your breathing, but it stimulates your body to put oxygen into your brain and into your cells. So your CO2 pressure is more important than your blood pressure. We have to learn and train ourselves to be able to develop holding the breath so that we can increase the CO2 and thereby establishing a health. We're going to learn how to breathe today. Here's a person, we asked them to hold their breath. She could hold her breath for about 9 seconds. This is a sign of sickness and disease.
How long did it last?
Almost 9 seconds.
It is very important that we learn how to breathe deep, belly breathe, diaphragm breathe, and utilize the entire lung so that we get oxygen to fill all the little different areas of the lung to make sure that the lung completes its oxygen cycle. But then also we have to be able to learn how to hold our breath and stimulate and work with the carbon dioxide that will stimulate the respiratory rate and that will help us to complete the balance of oxygen, carbon dioxide. So it's very important we learn how to breathe deep, but also learn how to hold our breath. Let's look at some people.
How long do you think you can hold your breath?
Oh, shoot. 10 seconds?
20 seconds? 25 seconds?
I used to play the flute, so it'll probably be a while.
A long time. I think I could do 2.5 minutes.
A minute and a half.
When you learn to be able to hold your breath and stimulate that carbon dioxide and deal with it in the brain, you start to have incredible benefits. It helps many different types of diseases. It's a basis of much of what we see in yoga.
Ready.
Ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
7.5 seconds, that's absolutely terrible. We have to understand that as we start to hold our breath, it stimulates immune system, health, stem cells, brain function, in bacteria, resistance to bacterial infections, feeling relaxed. It's very important that we learn to manage oxygen and CO2. If you can't do at least 30 seconds, then something's wrong. You need to start to train. Because if you cannot hold your breath longer than 30 seconds, then
Oh my God, I'm gonna
you're
explode.
already in a state of disease.
Okay.
You're already not breathing properly, and it's going to create problems as you go through life. So people need to learn how to hold their breath, how to take in a complete breath, but also how to hold it, deal with oxygen and carbon dioxide.
I can't.
The right lung is bigger than the left, and we need to be able to fill up the entire lung, get all of the different alveoli to work and work well. And learning square breathing, we need to understand that how we can inhale, fully inhale, all the different parts of the lung, then hold, exhale, hold. And we start to learn how to utilize the entire lung and to get oxygen and carbon dioxide into balance. And then we start to see that there is much more health in being able to hold your breath,
Okay.
being able to go past
Okay.
40 seconds, 50 seconds, or even a minute. You don't have to go to the world's records. But you have to understand that in order to balance the acidosis alkalosis in the body, we have to learn to be able to get in the oxygen, and then also how to balance the
That's a long
carbon
time.
dioxide. So we learn more about health and the complete breathing cycle that allows us to get to that healthy spot. Being able to recognize that we have to learn to get the carbon dioxide as well as the oxygen, utilize the whole lung, and be able to get to a place of health that stimulates blood flow into the brain, into the liver, into the place. We need carbon dioxide to do this, to make that complete stimulation. So as we learn to get more and more health into the body, and we learn to see the oxygen concentrations, and we learn to see the carbon dioxide, we will learn to get back to a deeper quality of health,
Okay.
vitality, and wellness.
A minute 41.
I was close with my first guess.
Now, doctors have been wearing masks for years without any problem, and now we see that as we face COVID times, wearing a mask isn't that much of a problem, and the CO2 buildup can actually be positive in certain ways. You see, we have to recognize that hyperventilation, when we take way too much of that CO2, it can create problems. It creates calcification, buildup, and a whole bunch of other things. We have to learn to be able to hold our breath and to balance the acid alkaline of our system, learning how to breathe properly. So we have to recognize, as we are now dealing with the number one deficiency, nutritional deficiency in the world, we have to be able to balance our needs for air. That includes carbon dioxide as well as oxygen. We have to learn these things.
Not feel that weird breathless feeling in my chest or a vague buzzing in my ears. And if that's the case, you very likely have a neurological disorder that inhibits the development of empathy, like schizophrenia or autism. In fact, doctors use contagious yawning to diagnose these very conditions. Or maybe your doctor's just bored with you.
I've got this thing on my back.
Well, I hope you learned a little bit about our nutritional needs for air, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. We need air.